This video introduces the publishing process. Thinking about how you want to publish and being more strategic with your choices can increase the chance of your paper being accepted. This session will go through the process of publishing in a journal with tips and advice that can help you get accepted. When you're publishing, preparation is key. If you have co-authors, make sure to discuss your publication strategy together first. It's important to understand each other's aims and what's important to each of you. It's also crucial to have an ORCID before submitting your work to a journal. An ORCID stands for Open Research and Contributor ID. When you create an ORCID, you effectively give yourself, as a researcher, a unique identification number. This enables you to link your work to yourself and helps keep all your work together, almost like an online CV for research. If you are publishing something from your thesis, you'll want to think about any copyright considerations there may be. Remember, you will need to be able to attribute all third-party material, and in some cases contact rights holders for permission to reuse their work. You should also think about whether you want or are required to publish your work open access. Many funders now require research outputs to be made available open access, so make sure you check any funder conditions. Publishing open access will also benefit you by extending the reach of your published work. When thinking about open access publishing, have a look on the library website at our Open Research Guide. We have a page dedicated to open access publishing, and from this page you will see information on deals we have with publishers that allow publishing fees to be waived, meaning you don't have to pay to publish. Before writing your article, find a journal that is suitable to publish your work in. It's important to choose a journal before writing the article, so you can match the style of the article to the journal, making acceptance more likely. When choosing a journal, think about your audience. Who is it that you want to read your article, and what are they already reading? Have a look at the references you have found in your literature searching. The journals you've referenced are good places to start, since this is where the conversation of your research area is already taking place. Submitting work to these journals will therefore bring greater chances of publication, and if your work is published, it's likely your audience is already there. Use trusted sources to help you find and evaluate potential journals to publish with. Scopus is a great place to start when looking for journals, and the university has a subscription to this source. If you search for Scopus on the library website, you will be prompted to log in with your institutional login details before accessing it. Once on Scopus, you can navigate to Scopus sources and can either search for specific journals or browse by subject area to see a list of relevant journals. You can also use Scopus filters to narrow down your results, for example by restricting to just open access journals. You can also filter or order your results using different metrics. You might be interested in the journal's CiteScore or SNP. CiteScore is calculated by dividing the number of citations a journal has received in a 4-year period by the number of documents published in that same 4-year period. It can demonstrate how highly cited articles in that journal usually are. SNP, or Source Normalized Impact per Paper, is adjusted to represent how likely it is papers will be cited in different disciplines. You can also find the Scamajo Journal Rank on Scopus, which is another metric that can be used to help make decisions on where to submit your paper. Scamajo Journal Rank is linked to Scopus data and is similar to SNP, but it also includes reputational data. Aside from Scopus, subject-specific courses such as ABS for Business can also be helpful when finding suitable journals to publish in. If you're looking to publish open access, you can also use the directory for open access journals, and similar to Scopus, you can either search for specific journal titles and find information about them, or can browse by subject area. All of these checks and careful considerations of where to publish also help you avoid predatory publishers. Predatory publishers, or fake journals as they are also known, pretend to be real journals in order to make money. With the publish or perish environment that exists in academia, researchers can feel pressured to publish amounts of work in a certain length of time, and predatory publishers try to take advantage of this. They will send emails directly to researchers stating that they are looking to publish their research, and that they can get their paper published usually in a short space of time for a publication fee. The trouble with this is that they are not real journals, and therefore do not have proper peer review processes in place. The quality of the work that is published with these journals can be, and often is, of very low quality. Submitting a paper to these journals can damage your reputation and also means your paper does not benefit from the peer review process. Predatory publishers can be spotted through their grammar and spelling mistakes on both their emails and websites, having an unprofessional-looking website, surprise fees or lack of information, short submission to publication times, and also through the scope of the journal being too general. If you are ever concerned that a journal you are considering publishing in is a predatory journal, you can check the source on the directory of open access journals, and can also follow guidelines on Think, Check, Submit. As always, get in touch with us in the library with any queries about this. Once you have chosen the journal you wish to publish with, the next step is to write your manuscript. Before doing this, it's crucial that you investigate the journal website to see the scope and writing style. You can also read articles published in the journal to get a better feel of the content, and can research the editors and reviewers if that information is available. After writing the manuscript, you're ready to submit. The golden rule for submission is to only submit to one journal at a time. It might seem logical to submit to more than one to increase your chance of publication, but if more than one is accepted, it can cause problems going forward. It also wouldn't be possible to have fully adapted the paper for the journal you were submitting to if you had submitted to more than one at a time. Assuming your paper is not a desk rejection, it will then go for peer review. The peer review process can sometimes seem daunting, but it's important to remember the people reviewing your paper are your peers, and they are there to help improve your paper. It's not as scary as this cartoon may lead you to believe. Peer review happens in stages. Once the author has submitted the paper, the journal editor screens the paper and decides whether to reject the article or pass it on to peer reviewers. If the paper goes to peer review, the reviewers read the paper and make comments for major revisions or minor revisions. The editor assesses the review comments and either passes it back to the reviewers for further review or passes the paper back to the author to make the revisions. Once the author has made revisions, the editor decides again whether to send the paper for further review or whether to accept or reject the paper. The peer review process does vary between journals depending on whether it is a single-blind, double-blind, or open peer review. On a single-blind peer review, the reviewer knows the identity of the author, but the author does not know the identity of the peer reviewer. In a double-blind peer review, neither the author nor the reviewer know each other's identities. This can be particularly helpful in very niche journals where the author and reviewers may know each other. In open peer review, the author and the reviewer's identities are known to each other. It can also mean that the peer review comments are made openly available, or even that the wider community is invited to contribute to the review process. Remember when submitting a paper for publication that rejection is not uncommon, and it doesn't mean that you should forget about your paper. If your paper is rejected, there should be some helpful advice in the comments to give you some suggestions about what to do next. You then have several options. You can rewrite your paper and submit it somewhere else. You will need to retailor your paper to a new journal in this situation, but it could be that the initial journal you chose wasn't the best option. You can rewrite parts of the paper and resubmit to the same journal. Changes might have been encouraged by the editor or reviewers, or you might feel more confident in yourself about tweaks that can be made. You could turn it into a different type of publication, such as a conference paper, book chapter, working paper, or something else. But don't just put it in your desk drawer and forget about it. When you're asked to make revisions to your paper, dealing with peer review comments can be a bit daunting. The first thing to do is breathe and try to stay objective. It can feel personal receiving comments on your work, so try to take a step back. To help with this, it's good to read the review once and then put it away for a bit. You can also ask someone else to read the comments for you to get a different perspective on the feedback. The most important thing is to address all the comments that have been given. To do this, it's good to have a plan. The plan we'd suggest to use is a matrix. Using a matrix is a great way to organize the review comments and ensure you address every aspect. To do this, collect your comments in a spreadsheet or table as shown on the slide. You can have a different row for each comment and identify where in the article it is. You can also add your initial thought about the comment and give yourself a task for each comment to address it. Another helpful column to add is for deadlines. That way you can be realistic about when you'll be able to complete the revisions and prioritize the tasks based on the time you have and how long they'll take to address. If you also identify which reviewer left which comment, you may start to identify some patterns. If you find one reviewer is being particularly harsh, for example, you could query this with the editor. Once you have made all of the revisions, you need to send a letter to the editor alongside the edited manuscript detailing how you have dealt with the comments. And then we wait, and sometimes wait a bit more. Getting a paper published can be a long process, so it's important to be patient. And then finally, hopefully you'll hear that your paper has been accepted. But that isn't the end of the process. You can now share your research, and after all the hard work of getting published, you'll want to do that. A publication strategy can help with deciding how you want to share your work more broadly. Here we can see an example of a publication strategy with several tips of how you might share your research. At this stage, you've already had the journal article published, so you can think about tweeting your paper, or maybe going to a conference to present your paper. You could also write some shorter, less formal pieces to promote your research, like a blog post, or perhaps get in touch with the university's comms and external relations team to find out how to promote your research to the media. There are lots of possibilities for your research at this stage. In summary, the publication process can take a few months or even longer, but with some time spent getting prepared, the process will be both quicker and smoother. Remember that the process can also be emotional, but also rewarding. And finally, the publication process doesn't end on publication. Sharing your work is crucial. Thank you for watching this video on the publication process. If you have any questions about any of the content or would like to chat to someone about getting your work published, please do get in touch with us in the library.